So last night, our photographer reached out to me and he had a concern. And he told me that on the website, on one of our clients' websites, the photography was kind of bad. And he explained that the photos that he took were of better quality and looked better than the edits that I had intentionally made. That kind of makes the photography look a little worse. And I had to explain to him that it was done with intention and that sometimes what we think is better isn't always what the end user, the patient, the consumer finds as better. And it's important to understand this because we have to lead with what they find better, not what we find better. All right, so this is a bit of a counterintuitive tactic. And I find things that are counterintuitive very fascinating because there's usually an underlying mindset, a frame of how we show up that has to be undermined in order for us to understand the counterintuitive concept. So therefore, counterintuitive concepts are, when you understand it, it becomes a very good lesson for us to move forward. So anyways, why did we take the extra steps to make these photos look intentionally a bit worse? And I won't show you these exact photos for privacy, but they looked a bit more blue. I changed it so that it wasn't a natural look anymore, and overall the quality was also a little diminished. And it goes back to understanding that the people we seek to serve don't want the same things that we necessarily do. And we have to start with understanding what they want and presenting ourselves in a way that shows that we align with those beliefs, we align with those ideas of what they want, so that we can create marketing, we can create a meaning that aligns with what they believe and therefore cause forward movement, cause alignment, and cause decision making where we create a win-win. Otherwise, we'll present ourselves in a way that is out of alignment with what they believe is better, and that gets us nowhere. So what the photographer believed to be better was a better resolution, better lighting, natural aesthetic. And what we were trying to create was a better for the end patient. And now this is an office that isn't high end. It's an office that isn't luxury. It serves a generally poorer demographic. And as a result, we need to engage in that lens and align with that belief. So it's counterintuitive in that why would you make something worse? This is what I'm trying to get at. So for example, the example that I gave him was that I cheap out on certain things. For example, certain foods I will cheap out on. Sometimes I just don't see the value. Well, I can see the value, but most of the times I choose not to engage in that sort of food stuff. And so if I showed up to a restaurant that looked like Nobu, that sounded like Nobu, and the experience was like Nobu, I'm not going to believe that I'm in that restaurant to get a value, like a cost-efficient meal. If what I find to be valuable is cost efficiency when it comes to food. So it actually hurts the business to show up as Nobu, to show up better, to show up as more premium, right? Wouldn't we love to be more premium? Sure. But for the customer, for the patient, for the person who is engaging with that, that's not what they were looking for. And that's not who the practice was serving. So it had to be starting with their perceptions of what was better and aligning with it. That is the counterintuitive work that sometimes we have to engage with. That our understanding of better doesn't matter as much as their understanding of what is better and how they want to be served. So a famous example of this is Spirit Airlines. And he asked me, how can you compare a dental practice to Spirit Airlines? Well, the buying psychology of people is always the same. All right. So Spirit Airlines, for a long time, they had a problem. They couldn't get sales. They lowered their prices and they were going to be the cheapest available. And the counterintuitive action that they took that actually boosted their sales was amplifying how obvious of a cheap airline they were. So everything required an upgrade. If you wanted extra legroom, it required an upgrade. Did you want to bring a carry-on? That's an upgrade. So that when people engaged with that, or even their planes were older models. So when people engage with this system, all those touch points, all those events that they come into interaction with, the event of asking if they want to upgrade to just bring on a carry-on, it signals to that person that, hey, you are experiencing budget and this is what it looks like. And we are giving them confidence that if you want to save money, this is the place to do it. And this is what it looks like. All right, so how can we create an experience? How can you create an experience in your office that aligns with those beliefs? First, you have to start off with, who is it that you're serving? What do they believe? Then you have to identify all the different touch points that they can come into contact with when it comes to your office. Expand what you take ownership of as it relates to their experience of you. Can you take ownership of the plaza that they experience when they park their car and walk into your office? Can you take ownership of who you'll be next to in the actual plaza? All right, all those different touch points. How the receptionist greets them. What the interior looks like. How the doctor treats them. All these are different touch points, and we get to play with those. We get to play with those elements and design them so that it creates a meaning that, oh, this is luxury. Oh, this is high performance. This is cheap. So much so that the people who align with those beliefs and who want those beliefs connect with it instantly. They get it. Or if they don't connect with it, they know someone else who connects with that. Because now you're differentiating. You're actually differentiating when you align all those different touch points. And people will understand, oh, this practice is for this. I might not like it, but I know a friend who does. And that's how we create word of mouth. You have to start standing for something. And it doesn't start with what you think is better. Counterintuitively, you may have to make things worse for your perspective, but better for your customers. All right, rant over. See you in the next one. Thanks.